What's good, everyone? Welcome to episode 4 of Project Tech Gaming. I'm your host for this week, Kelvin and Rob, and joining me is co-host Robert Garcia. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing good, man. It's time for another episode of Project Tech Gaming.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We have a lot to talk about today, though. You ready?
We do. I feel like we just recorded, but we didn't record
It feels,
for a while. It was weird.
yeah, it feels like a long time, and I feel kind of rusty. But let's just dive right into it so we can kind of loosen those gears, right?
Yeah, what kind of topics you got for us today?
So, topic number 1, we're going to talk about PS5, Xbox Series X shortages explained by AMD. Topic number 2 is Google Stadia shuts down internal studios, changing business focus. Topic number 3 is going to be the God of War enhanced performance experience for PS5. Topic number 4 is going to be Elon Musk discusses build quality problems with engineer Sandy Munro. And topic number 5, which is a little fun, interesting one, which RPG are we more looking forward to in 2021? So that's going to be the topics for today. But first, we're going to talk about Play of the Week. We'll start off with Play of the Week, which is basically one of us picks a game that doesn't matter which genre, which platform it's in. We just give our impressions on it, basically. And we just kind of play the game, kind of give a little vertical slice of it. And just, see if we like it or hate it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I know, Rob, it's your turn. So what have you been playing this week?
Well, this week, I've been playing a game called Cyber Shadows.
Okay.
It's an indie game.
I have not heard about this game until you told me about it, so it's interesting.
Okay. It is it's made by Yacht Club Games. I've personally never heard of this developer. Have you?
No, never.
So the kind of game it is a action adventure platformer.
Okay.
Right off the bat, when I start this game, it reminds me of old school Mega Man.
Okay.
So it's a combination of Mega Man, Castlevania, and the other game there was one more that it reminded me of.
Is it like Ninja Gaiden, sort of? No?
Not Ninja Gaiden, but like Prince of Persia.
Okay.
Like the old Prince of Persia.
I'll take it.
Really old Prince of Persia.
Yeah.
So it's side-scrolling, platformer, like old school. And I was really excited because I was like, oh, this is like super simple. The one thing I didn't, I forgot about those games is they're hard.
Yeah.
I died maybe 10 times in the first 6
Are we
minutes
talking
of the
Cuphead
game.
hard, or what are we gauging this on?
Oh, now I remember the game it reminded me of. Metroid, like old school Metroid. That's what it kind of reminded me of,
All right.
the style.
Okay.
So, yeah. So as far as hardness goes,
Yeah.
It was like back in the day. That was like Dark Souls.
Okay.
So everything is like in a sequence. Like the enemies spawn exactly where they're going to spawn every time.
Mm-hmm.
So you literally, it's almost like a rhythm. You have to memorize where they are when you're going into your next playthrough, so you don't die.
All right.
And there's a lot of platforming, which is takes a lot of freaking quick inputs. And I'm a little rusty, so
Yeah,
I'm just
I can imagine. I mean, it's one of those games where you have to be really precise, right?
Yeah, precision's everything in that game.
Yeah.
Obviously, I didn't beat it in that time, but I don't think it's a long game. But so far, I'm having a blast playing it.
This came out recently, right? Like last month or something like that, right?
Yeah, I think the 26th it came out.
26, yes, yeah.
So
yeah.
Actually, maybe a week ago.
Yeah,
or so.
yeah. Okay, so fairly recently. Okay, cool. Now, so do you recommend let's start off? Do you recommend me playing this game, knowing the type of games that I play and all that stuff, or?
I think it's a quick pickup. I think you definitely would enjoy it. It's cool. Like the music is dope.
Okay.
It's very retro, but cool. That's what it is. It's a very retro. It makes you remember all the games you used to play back in the day.
Sure. And what do you exactly do though? What's your objective?
So you're you're a ninja basically. You're a ninja, and I guess there's a small cutscene that happens in the beginning where I guess you were in some kind of war.
Yeah.
In the future or something, and then you get hurt and you're in this chamber where you're recovering and stuff, and I guess shit's hitting the fan, and some robot's hey man, wake up, there's shit going down.
Yeah.
and you're not like fully like recovered. You're like missing your like I guess the spells or the attacks you had back in the day. Like you're not full strength, obviously.
Okay, sure.
So that was that's how it starts off, and then you just literally off the jump, like no directions, nothing. They just say go.
Okay.
So no hand holding.
Yeah, well, that's how it used to be back in the day, right? When you used to play games, they never used to tell you anything. It was just like, all right, you bought the game. Good luck. Here you go. There's no instructions. Just learn, pretty much.
Yeah, it definitely made me appreciate games back in the day. How it was just like literally you start it up and you're playing. That's it.
Let me ask you this: what are there any weapons that kind of pertain to this game that are kind of interesting? Are you getting like one of those throwing knives? Like what are you working with here?
So the only attack you have is just a sword swipe. Just one sword swipe.
Really?
Like X is like a sword
But
swipe.
do you
and that's
upgrade as you keep going, or how
I
does
think
that
you
work?
do, because when I hit the start menu, like when you go through the menu, there's like little orbs on the sword.
Yeah.
So I'm imagining as you progress through the game, you'll get more upgrades, and your sword will probably have longer range, or you'll have like again different weapons. But it was just like literally jump and then just swipe, and that was it.
Shit. All right. So you recommend this game pretty much? I mean, it's a short, simple, sweet game again. It seems pretty fun from what you've kind of grasped.
If you're easily frustrated, I do not recommend this game. This is like the Dark Souls of that era. So if you're not easily frustrated, you like a challenge, it's so fun.
Okay.
Like I wanted to keep playing, but I was getting frustrated at the same time. I was like, oh, I want to beat this level, but I'm just like, I'm getting so mad, like dying at the one point. I will note that in that game, there's no like invincibility as far as like when you get hit. You know how you have like a little bit of like a frame where like you are invincible, you can't get hit again.
Yeah. You just
this game didn't have that. Oh. You get hit, you keep getting hit.
Fuck. All right.
Yeah, that's what made it like super hard. Like you weren't able to take advantage of those invincibility frames.
That's cool. All right, you get to appreciate those games too, because again, it definitely gives you that challenge that you don't normally get from other games. Nowadays, right? A lot of the games nowadays, they kind of hold your hand a little bit too much. Whereas games in the past, and some games now, Cuphead comes to mind, right? They literally just drop you in there and you're just kind of defend for yourself. So I appreciate those games.
Yeah, that's what I like about indie games. It's just super easy to pick up, and if you have like a couple hours to spend, you don't want to like learn a whole bunch of things. You can't get into the lore and stuff. I highly recommend this game.
For sure. Now tell us, where can we get this game? How much it cost?
So if you have Xbox Game Pass, it is free.
Again, Xbox winning.
It's pretty much available on every major platform: PlayStation 4, cool. Xbox, PC. It's $20. Well, $19.99.
Cool.
So
across the board.
Across the board, yeah. $19.99. I give it 2 thumbs up.
Sweet. All right. Let's move on to topic number 1. Let's get right into the nitty-gritty things. All right. So topic number 1, PS5, Xbox Series X stock shortages explained by AMD. So basically, we got a little information here from ScreenRant.com, and the gist of it is basically this shortage that we're having right now from the new generation. A lot of it has to do with AMD, mostly because they're not building enough processors for them to kind of keep up with the manufacturing. So, and with doing that, that's going to delay, obviously, right? Building the PS5s, the Xbox Series X, and that's going to cause a delay for consumers. So there's a lot of things that kind of go in the back end of production, right? Where you don't normally think about things like that. The pandemic is a huge factor into this, especially like earlier this March, or last year in March, like when it kind of really hit us, it kind of brought a lot of I wouldn't say a lot of like, it just brought a lot of companies down, especially Sony and Microsoft, and of course AMD. So AMD, I'll read a little snippet here from ScreenRant.com. As reported by tech websites Tom Hardware yesterday, AMD recently reported its profits for the last quarter of 2020, as well as discussing its best-selling products for plans for future buyouts of fellow technology corp. Can't pronounce that. What is that? Xilinx later this year. Among these topics,
Xilinx, maybe.
Right? Yeah. AMD CEO Lisa Su explained that the ongoing coronavirus pandemic and the 2-year-long trade war between the U.S. and China caused issues in developing the company's Ryzen 5000 processor, which in turn has led to shortages of the PS5 and Xbox Series X consoles that are powered by them. As a result, Sue expects a tightness of supplies leading well into 2021, which isn't helped by the chips AMD does have in its inventory being in various stages of construction. So there you have it. We have a lot of, kind of insight on why a lot of these consoles are delayed, and we might not see them till, really into 2021. What do you think about that, Rob?
So my first question is, when PlayStation 4, this is going back so many years ago.
Yeah.
I think I was still in college at this time.
Mm-hmm.
Was it like this with the PS4 and Xbox Series, Xbox One? Was it easier to get a PS4 at this time than it is to get a PS5, or is it about the same? For what I remember, I feel like it was around, because I think I personally got a PS4 in January. I didn't think I could get it during launch, so I think in January is when I got mine.
I think this time around PS5 is having a harder time. I think there's just a lot of factors right now this time of year. You think about the pandemic, of course, which wasn't a factor for the PS4. You also have to think about, this was a factor for every console generation, but scalpers are, for some reason,
it's the worst.
They're the worst this year than I've ever seen before. And I think Sony has a lot to do with it, to be honest. And here's why. I think Sony has done a fantastic job of molding consumers into this like consumer hungry. It's hard to explain. So I mean, you see TikTok, you see
they're creating demand.
Of course, yeah, but and I don't even think they did it on purpose, because this is something that just kind of manufactured just based off of word of mouth, I think, right? I mean, if you see TikTok, you see social media in general, you're looking at videos of people just kind of talking about, buying their husband or their wife a PS5 because they want one, or, kind of like little mock-ups of PS5s. There's a lot of things that kind of go into that ecosystem, and that just makes everyone want to buy one, right? You're going to see a lot of people kind of seeing all these videos and they're like, oh, I want the PS5 just because it's something that I need to have. I see this all everywhere. I need to have it.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where it's out of sight, out of mind.
Yep.
For example, like I don't have a PS5 and I forget about it sometimes. I have a decent gaming PC that I play all my games on.
Right.
But then when I go over your house and I see that PlayStation 5, I'm like,
yeah,
damn, I want that.
Yeah, it's one of those things, and it's crazy how the mind works. Like, you guys had the same situation, you and Caleb, right? I feel like Caleb had no interest in getting a PS5 at one point, right? And then all of a sudden, when he noticed that there was a demand for that, he was like, I need to get that. Like, it was just one of those things where he needed to get. Still haven't got, I don't think, right? But my friend Ed, who works with me at the hospital, he is dying. He's been dying to get a PS5 ever since it came out, and he kind of gave up and bought an Xbox, right? And he's been trying it out, and he's like, dude, I don't want this. Like, I want a PS5. So he finally got a PS5, and he sold his Xbox. He was like, I'm done. I don't need this anymore. So it's just crazy how social media and all these aspects have a lot to do with just the hype and the buildup of a system, and going back to our topic, I just think that those are a lot of the reasons why PS5 or Sony this time around are having a harder time to get these consoles into people's homes.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Xbox is in the same boat. I think just because it's the new shiny thing,
yeah, for sure,
that it's hard to. But again, AMD is having a hard time pumping out these processors.
Right.
Which the new the Ryzen 5000 series processors, they're being halted.
Yeah, for sure.
So like it's just AMD halting everything down, and apparently the reason why is something to do with the ray tracing. The technology in there.
Yep.
is they just can't get a hold of it.
Interesting.
I don't know what the technology is per se,
right.
what the name of it is, but that's a big factor.
Yeah.
So I think once AMD gets their, everything all said and done as far as like they got the stock, then we'll see a lot more
production
seeing
kind
all those
of
things
speed up a little bit
exactly.
more. So when do you
Eventually.
think it's this article is saying kind of more into the later time of 2021? When do you really think we'll see like a steady flow of consoles? I'm thinking like late this year. I would say like maybe September, October we'll start seeing like a good amount. Like you can just go to the store and buy one.
I would say like maybe around summertime.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's the thing, tax season is coming up.
Right.
People, what they're going to do with their tax money, they're going to go buy the new consoles. If they, like they're going to blow $500 to get the new stuff.
Or invest in stocks.
Or invest in GameStop stock, AMC stock.
Yep.
We'll see. I like how you brought that back from last episode. But yeah, so I think summer's probably the best time like to get one, just because a lot more people are going to be going outside,
right?
Especially during like this Corona stuff. People have been cooped up in the winter,
sure,
can't do anything, so they're like, I don't want to stay inside playing video games all day. So not as many people are going to pick it up as a hobby during those times. So I think summer will probably be the best time to pick one up as far as like when the production will be. And then the scalper thing will be coming down a little bit. People are not going to, I'm not paying freaking $800 for this thing that I could get for $400,
Yeah.
Because the hype is like going down.
Right,
now.
right. Yeah, you don't
like,
see
it's already
it as
out,
crazy
like,
now. And,
people have it.
Right, for sure.
So
it's still pretty expensive right now, though. You know what I mean? Like if you try to go now, if you try to go buy one on like Facebook.com or something like that, some scalpers still charging like an arm and leg still.
Yeah, well, you shouldn't buy from that scalper. Like, you just shouldn't buy from scalpers.
Period.
Because
yeah,
then,
you're just investing.
Unless you got money bags, you don't feel like waiting. Then
for sure,
screw you.
Yeah.
But
we'll see, man. We'll see. I mean, I'm just waiting for you to get one. Like, I don't know when the hell that's gonna be.
I don't know, man. I mean, thankfully, I have my PC. If I didn't have my PC and I was still on console, I'd be freaking out.
Yeah, that'd be sad. That'd be a sad Rob.
But to be fair, there's really not much out for PS5. Like, it's just beginning, so there's nothing like must play on PS5 right now.
Sure.
Like, if God of War 2 was out, then I'd be freaking out. I'd be like, I need to play it. But
yeah,
it's not out. So.
I'm more of a Sony fan, I think, than you are. So I'm enjoying games like Ratchet and Clank, like when they come out, or just like the little, like I think I was telling you about it earlier. Like the Pathless is like a what do you call it? It's an indie game that came out day one on PS5, I believe, and I haven't.
I don't think I've actually heard of this.
Pathless. I might actually be that might actually be my next play of the week for next week. To be honest, I might get that. I think it's like $20 too. I gotta dig into it, but it seems pretty cool. And I definitely want to check it out. But those are just kind of niche games that I enjoy playing. I mean, Ratchet and Clank is a niche, but I'm excited for the future, and the future is like literally around the corner. So I'm looking forward to that. All right, topic number 2. Google Stadia shuts down internal studios, changing business focus. And this was from Monday. So this comes from Kotaku. Just going to read a little snippet here. It says, Google Stadia, the late 2019 streaming platform that promised to revolutionize gaming by letters using streaming games without needing to own a powerful PC or console, is altering course, getting out of the game-making business, and will not offer its platforms directly to game publishers, alongside offering Stadia Pro to the public. That's wild, but also not. Like, I saw this coming a mile away. I don't know about you.
Yeah, no, this is typical Google.
Yeah,
right?
Google is known for this.
They'll try something, and then if they don't see it sticking, they're like.
But they're not giving up.
Right.
They're not necessarily.
They're not giving up on Stadia. I almost said Stadia.
Right.
Stadia.
Jesus Christ! Don't do it. So it looks like they're like they said, they're altering their course a little bit. They're changing their business plan, but it looks like they're kind of basically being a studio. It's or a platform, right? So
they were trying to be its own studio, where like it was its own developer basically.
Right. So now they're just gonna be like a publisher, I guess. So they're gonna be like Sega, maybe, right? Or they can just kind of place their games in any platform, right? Is from what I'm getting from this.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think they're going to be a first party anymore. Like, they're not having games exclusively developed for Stadia.
And then the games that they did have, the games that they did have were from what it looks like, are not being developed anymore. So I don't know what their business plan or what they're gonna do with those games. So they probably shut down 2 of their games. I'm gonna go into the article a little bit more just to kind of get a little bit more insight. Google will
Yeah.
close its 2 game studios located on in Montreal and Los Angeles. So yeah, they are closing down studios, which is sad. And then Jade Raymond. Do you know Jade Raymond? She was a key figure in the first Assassin's Creed when it first
Not
came out.
familiar with Jade. No.
She was working for Google for a while when it first came out. Stadia, I mean, and then I guess she's also leaving as well. So there's 150 developers who are going to be either moving around, getting new roles, or they're going to probably, unfortunately.
No, so what they did say
Mm-hmm.
about the jobs, about those, they're moving them to different departments in Google.
Is it for sure 150?
That's from what I read. From what I
them?
read, they said that they're going to move them to different departments within Google. I don't know how true that is,
Sure.
that they're going to stick to their word, but
Right.
that's what else I'm like, oh my God, they're going to lose all their jobs. But no,
Yeah,
Google's going to move around. So that's nice that's going to.
it's good. At least they're not really closing down completely, so they're not shutting down all the developers that they had. However, they did put a lot of resources into this, and I mean, again, I saw this coming from a mile away. It's just one of their main issues with launching Google Stadia is just how much it underperformed when it came with features. They offered all these features, or they announced all these features that really never came into fruition, and most of them were in kind of like the trial error, in the trial stages, and it just never got up on its own 2 feet. And
I just think the way they announced it, or like how they explained their platform, was kind of confusing to the consumer.
Right.
Like with the basic and pro plan. And you have to, like, with Game Pass, the games are like, once you pay for Game Pass, it's free, but you have to pay to use.
That's another
and they don't
they
don't really give you free games. Like, you have to pay for each. You still have to pay like $60 for the game.
Yep.
And I'm just like, why am I going to pay $60 for a game and I can only play it on this thing where, right. I just didn't see like, oh, now you're charging for the game too.
Right. That again, another crutch that they had. So if they would have kind of went with the Netflix model, it would have definitely helped them a lot. Right.
Oh, it would definitely been nice. Like, hey, I can be on my freaking 2012 MacBook Pro and play freaking Assassin's Creed.
Right.
Awesome.
They offered a lot of cool features that I was personally. I mean, I was actually one of the first founders of it. Like, I was gonna actually purchase it and get the Founders Edition, and I had it on I purchased it
on pre-order.
Yeah, thank you.
Pre-ordered
Yes,
it.
and after seeing it just kind of really going downhill each time they kept announcing things and each time they kept mentioning things, and I ended up just canceling my pre-order. I was like, this is not gonna end well, and sure enough, it didn't end well.
You know what? We know what also killed it? The pandemic.
Did it though?
Yeah, I think so.
How? Like,
so the thing was, you can play this anywhere on any device.
Okay, I see where you're going.
People aren't traveling. I'm not going to, I'm not traveling everywhere.
Yeah.
I can't bring my laptop. I'm at home. I got all my consoles. I got my PC. I got my consoles and stuff.
Good point. Yep.
That's a big thing too. Like, maybe if like the world was still moving around, you're in a hotel room and you want to play some games, but you don't want to lug this giant laptop, gaming laptop around.
Right.
You just freaking put on you put on Stadia and you can pick up where you left off and play a good graphics and they're all like crap. So
yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. Yeah, that definitely kind of affected their strategy when it comes to releasing Stadia, right? I think we'll see what happens, right? I mean, what do you think is gonna happen now? If they're gonna maintain the publisher role, do you think that's gonna benefit them? If it's gonna kind of lead into a profit for them, or like how is that gonna work for them?
I don't know anyone that uses it.
I don't know anybody either.
I don't know anyone that uses it.
I don't even think half of the people that I know what this is, to be honest.
What I see happening, in all honesty, just like what Google does, is they're going to shut this down.
Sweep it under the rug and what the fuck is a Stadia? We don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's just they're gonna toss it because there's just much better alternatives right now, and it was just kind of like the wrong timing.
Yeah.
of everything.
It's a shame
Like,
because from what I've heard, their streaming service was actually really it worked well. When it worked, it worked. You know,
yeah. Little tidbit for you is that Cyberpunk actually
it
performed really
performed
well on
it performed
Stadia.
really well, and compared to
Yeah.
all the other consoles. So that's why I'm like, it's a bummer. It's one of those things where you kind of wanted them to kind of put a little bit more effort into this and just kind of take a step back a little bit and just realize, okay, how the climate looks right now and what can we do to adjust and kind of flow with what's going on right now in the world. But I don't know if it was just too late for them. They weren't able to do it.
They might change course. They might be like, hey, every game that comes on our platform is going to be free now, free to stream.
Yeah.
That might be a way and be competitive with Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's expensive to get those games on your platform.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Think of how many publishers Xbox has.
Yeah. And then look how long it took them to get to where they're at right now with their with acquiring all these developers, and all these studios. Yeah. Sad. All right, topic number 3, one of my favorite topics. God of War 2018 enhanced performances are experienced for PS5. So there's a new update for God of War. If you have it, great. If you don't, you can buy it or download it on the PlayStation Plus collection side of it on PlayStation 5. So I highly recommend you do that. I'm one of those where I'll go on a little tangent, not too long, but God of War for me wasn't all that. I mean, I want to say everyone enjoyed God of War, and I enjoyed it to a certain extent. Except me, but I enjoyed it. I just thought there were a lot of missteps that I was slightly disappointed on, and I won't go into too much detail about it. But I just think there were a lot of repetition when it comes to the enemies in the game, and it just didn't feel like that huge. It didn't have that massive scale that the other games had, although it did have the open world feel of it. So yes, it did have that aspect to it, but when it comes to like running on top of a Titan and trying to kill like these hydras, like that was epic in every moment in God of War in the previous ones. This one had it in a different type of way, and it never really clicked for me from beginning to end, So I was a little disappointed with the game, but that was a couple years ago,
Yeah, what you gained what you lost in like that epicness per se, with like you were fighting a Titan and stuff like that.
Yeah,
you gained in character development
for sure, and that was one of the highlights of the game.
Yeah, like you see like Kratos before as like this like bloodthirsty man who's just on a rampage and just like kill.
Right.
Whereas now, you're still killing things. Don't get me wrong, he's still killing things.
For
but
sure.
His mannerisms are different. He's
more
like
grounded, right? Because he has a son, and no spoilers, but he has a son, Atreus, and it's a different mindset for him as a dad, as a father.
You see the more human side of him, which is nice. So you don't get to see the human side of
I think
Kratos in the other games.
This is exciting for me, this topic here, because it's gonna help me kind of go back into it and kind of give it a revisit. Let me go into some of the details that they have for this update here. So it's available on the PlayStation Plus collection, like I said. It came out February 2nd of this year, obviously, and it's gonna give you 60 frames per second on the PS5.
That's big. That's huge.
I love that. Yeah. That's great. And then it's gonna give you 4K checkerboard resolution with 2060p resolution,
which is 4K. It's basically 4K.
Yeah, so which is great. I think that's gonna. I mean, on my TV, it's gonna look fantastic. With the 60 frames per second, it's gonna look amazing. So that's definitely one of the reasons why I want to play it. The other reason why is because I just became a father not too long ago, and I think that relationship with Kratos and his son is gonna probably help me kind of move or see the game in a different light than how I did back in 2018 when I first played the game, right? I think I was really stuck on back then of, I'm not running on top of a Titan, or, why am I not like jumping on this huge scale?
Why am I not ripping a god's head off?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Like those things that I love. My favorite God of War was God of War 3 by far, right? And this game came close, but those were some of the downfalls that I personally didn't like. But I'll give it a revisit. I want to try it again. That's why I'm excited for this update. And we'll see how it goes. I mean, I think most of my issues will still stand with the repetition of enemies and all that stuff. But that's why I'm also excited for God of War 2 when it comes out, because I think they're going to fix a lot of those issues that I had, and it's just going to be amazing. Corey Barlog, who's the developer of this one, is amazing. So I'm not downplaying his
We're not
work.
going to be. I'm not worried about.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the next God of War. Like I know
trust.
it's going to be great, and I'm not trying to sound like a shitty person or like negative Nancy for God of War 2018, but I really did have just some issues with it that I just couldn't get past. But overall, I know it was an amazing game. It was just kind of blinded by some of the things that it had.
So I think what's going to help you as far as like the action and like your thirst for that is the 60 frames per second. The action's going to feel a lot more fluid because it was 30 frames per second before.
Yeah.
So this is definitely going to feel like you're going to be like very fluid.
Oh my God, it's going to be nice.
So it's going to feel like a different game to you for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely recommend anyone who has a PS5 to go download that. If you haven't played that game, you're getting the best experience possible right now.
You're getting that experience right now. So I highly recommend it. Also, you can't forget, you played it, right?
I beat it.
You beat it. You can't forget the first 20 minutes of the game.
Phenomenal.
We're
not going to spoil anything, but it's just
I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to say anything about it. But it's just
I remember
I'm just going to say Dragon Ball Z level type shit. You know what I mean?
Like my roommate came into my room when I was playing it,
yeah.
and he's just like, "What is going on? What did I just watch?"
It is great. I can't stress that enough. You got to play that.
See, you say you don't like the game, but you're saying that you like the game.
That's the thing. Like I know I like the game. Deep down there's a fantastic game in there. I just had issues with it that I couldn't get past. But we're
gonna do another review of it.
Yeah, I think I
beat it.
Yeah,
and we're gonna come back to it and be like, how do you feel about it now?
For sure. Yeah, that has to happen because I think that game is very special in its own way, and I think. Again, the second one that's going to come out, doubt it's coming out this year. They say they are, but I don't know. I think it's going to get delayed. But that game is going to be fucking nuts. But we'll see.
Yeah, I can't wait. Yeah.
Topic number 4. So this one's interesting. This one's pretty cool. Elon Musk discusses build quality problems with engineer Sandy Munro. So I'm just going to read a little tidbit here. Elon Musk sits down with engineer Sandy Munro and discusses the quality issues of Model 3. An interview with manufacturing expert and acclaimed critic Sandy Munro, the two discuss the differences in productions and the reasoning behind these shortcomings. So we read this article, right? And this was from jalopnik.com. It was pretty... Jalopnik?
Jalopnik, yeah.
Thank you. It was pretty cool. It was a long read, but I highly enjoyed it. What do you think?
I think it was really cool that Elon Musk actually sat down with a guy that was saying like, look at this car.
Yep.
This car's made like crap.
Right.
As far as like quality goes, I'm not saying that the Teslas are shit.
Right.
I'm just saying that like, as far as like how the quality differed between each car itself was just like. What? Like
a lot of the issues,
why are these not the same?
Right. So a lot of the same builds didn't have the same features, I guess, right? There were not features, but it didn't have some of the same looks to it.
Yeah, like on one car the paint would be immaculate, the another car the paint would be like it would be imperfect.
Right.
There'd be like the doors wouldn't fit like all the way correctly.
Right. So there were little imperfections that kind of differentiated between each model or the same model, but each car that was like that. So it was an interesting read because he sat down with this engineer, right? And his name again is Sandy Munro. And he was pretty critical with what he was saying, right? He was pretty much giving it to him. He was like, hey, listen, this is a pretty shitty quality car. Like, what's going on? And Elon Musk sat down with him, and he was like, all right, let's go down. Let's go kind of break down everything that you think was, imperfect or was, shitty in a sense. And let's talk about it. And they had a great discussion for what it looks like. And he was... this guy, he was actually comparing it. Sandy Munro was actually comparing it to like a 1990s Kia. So he was going hard. He was not giving a fuck.
Why did you think Elon was like, you know what? I'm gonna have an interview with this guy and talk to him. he didn't have to do that.
I think
because
I think he's just confident in what he has. I think he knows that what he has is, what he has is it's good quality, and he just wanted to see what someone that would kind of have
an outsider,
exactly has to say about it, because I think he's generally curious about what other people think about his cars, and Teslas aren't really known for being cheap, right? So he knows what he has. I just thought it was interesting. I thought it was a really good read, and I highly recommend it. You guys can check it out. It's pretty interesting.
Well, you should watch the video of Sandy Munro breaking down a Tesla's quality video and then watch the interview where Elon confronts him. I don't want to say he confronts him because that make it sound like you talking shit about my car. You know what I mean? It's more of like let's have a discussion about like why the quality is the way it is sometimes.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like just like it because of like sometimes if we don't let the car sit after it got painted for 2 seconds more or 2 minutes more, that's what leads into, and they were pumping these things out like crazy.
Right.
So it's like the demand is another factor. And basically Elon said like we're fixing all that shit.
Right.
So definitely cool. Definitely we'll continue to monitor.
And he was talking about the Model 3s just to be,
just the Model 3.
the Model
it wasn't
3s.
the Model Y or Model X or
Right.
Model S. It was just that. But again, it is the entry level car.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's almost like the most important car
Exactly.
because that's how you get people in the door. So
what do you think about Elon Musk as a person, as a entrepreneur? Like, what do you think? As a person, what do you think he shows other people? Like, I think he's very humbled in a sense of like how, or not even humbled, but just like he's an interesting person, right? The way he approaches things is very interesting.
I respect the guy. I really do. And it's really interesting when you hear him talk because whenever you see him talk, he pauses for a little bit. He actually thinks about what he's going to say.
That's a lot. That's what I should do a lot.
You know what I mean? Like he's not just spewing stuff out and just like first, sparking your brain. It's just like, vomit.
Yeah.
He's just like very analytical and just like, okay. And he tries to give you the best answer possible. You can see from in any interview with Elon.
Yeah.
The guy's definitely a little on the weird side, but I think you have to be to come up with the idea he came up with.
For
all
sure.
the things he's done.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he seems interesting. I don't really follow a lot of his interviews and things like that, but from what I've grasped, like he seems like he absorbs a lot of what you tell him, and he takes critiquing very seriously, right? Obviously from this interview here. So good on him. I think that was cool, and much respect for him for kind of sitting down with the guy with Sandy and just kind of shooting the shit, talking, and it could have gone completely different, right? It could have been a completely like back and forth Twitter rant between each other, right? Like it could have been.
I know somebody like that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So good on him. That was a great interview. I highly recommend reading it.
Yeah.
Topic number 5, Rob. So this is an interesting topic because we were kind of going back and forth. We're like, oh, what should our topic number 5 be? And we came up with this one. This is great. Which RPG are we looking forward to in 2021? And will it get delayed? I'll start off with you, Rob.
All right. So the RPG that I am getting most excited for is Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne.
A what?
Remaster. Shin. I'm probably butchering it.
Yeah.
Shin Megami Tensei.
Okay.
Nocturne is the game.
Okay.
It's a remaster of a PlayStation 2 game.
Okay. Is that confirmed coming out? Like
for Switch.
Oh shit. Okay.
It's coming out in the spring. There's not a confirmed date in the spring, but it's coming out spring 2021.
Okay.
So that is the game. So
you were big on Shin Megami Tensei games, right? Did I say it right?
Yes.
I don't know. Okay.
Yes.
I was never big on them, but I knew you.
Yes,
were.
you are.
Persona now I am, sure,
yeah.
but I'm saying back in the day, no.
Yeah, I got my first game there from that company was Digital Devil Saga.
Yes, I remember that game.
That was a big one because I really like their art style.
Yeah,
and,
the art style was
like,
fantastic. That was
really
dope.
cool.
Yep.
So it's gonna be cool because now this is on the go.
Mm-hmm. True.
And I didn't played it. I never played the Nocturne. So
Right.
And Dante's in it.
What?
Dante from Devil May Cry. He's in it. He's a character.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. He's a character in it. Yeah.
Wait.
Not like new Dante. Not like
Yeah,
the one we know now. But back in the day, back in PS2. Yeah. So
okay.
I think it's gonna be. Yeah.
You just
I think it's gonna be
spiked
fun.
my interest there. Holy shit, that's dope. I didn't know that.
And it's on the go. I love when RPGs come out for the Switch
Mm-hmm.
because it's so hard to just sit there on like 2-3 hours, 4 hours, and just like.
I mean,
play
Persona
an
was
RPG.
tough. As much as I love
To
that
finish
game,
it
was. I think I looked back at it because you can see your hours of playtime on PS5, and I think I put 180 hours in it.
Yeah, it's
Absurd.
because it's like a sim. It's a sim too. It's
Yeah.
not just an RPG.
Yeah.
It's a simulator. So, I definitely want to play. I want this game to come out. So I'm gonna.
Does
dump
it have a
bunch of my
release
stuff.
date?
It says spring 2021. That's all it says.
Yeah, it's just getting delayed. Sorry, buddy.
No, it's a remaster. It's not.
Listen,
not getting
COVID
a
has fucked
remaster.
everybody. It's gonna get delayed.
No.
So, along with
No,
God of
it's
War,
not.
and along with my game. My game is Tales of Arise. You didn't think about that one, right?
Tales of Arise. Is it like a Tales of Symphonia?
Yes.
Or is
it's
it
a Tales game.
It's
It's a Tales game.
It's a Bandai Namco.
Bandai
right?
Namco, yep. So this game was actually announced last year. I want to say it was last year. It was announced last year. It was supposed to release last year, but COVID, right? COVID happened, and it was supposed to come out for PS4, Xbox, and I think that was it. But it got delayed for this year because of COVID. But that's it. Like they showed that one trailer. I think it was on if it was E3. I think it was E3 of last year. So it was probably in June when they announced it, and it's dead silent. I don't know anything about it. No one knows. Like it just that one trailer that they showed, which was fucking awesome.
That's it.
And I showed you that trailer a couple months ago, and that was it. Nothing. So I don't know anything about this game. I don't know anything like what's the story behind it. Who's like the protagonist,
So
antagonist.
what do you want if you know anything about it?
Because the trailer looks so dope, and I think it kind of had this dragons kind of like I don't know that kind of dragon lore to it, and that I'm excited for. Check the trailer out. Like I highly recommend.
I'll check the trailer. We'll probably link in description. Of the
Yeah, because it's dope as fuck. And it just looks cool. It has the Unreal Engine 4.
Same art style as like Tales, or is it a little more serious?
It's a little more serious, which is why it looks serious, and it reminds me of I'm cheating here a little bit, but my next RPG that I'm excited for is Final Fantasy 16. That shit looks dope. That has that serious tone to it. So that was one of my. I was like, maybe I like Tales, but Final Fantasy. But I gave it to Tales just because there's less that we know about it, and I just think it's gonna be pretty sick to see. But check it out.
Yeah.
It's definitely a game that's gonna. I think it's gonna change a lot of the Tales aspect games, like how the genre is right now, and it just looks fun. It just looks really interesting. The story looks cool. Again, it's in Japanese, so you can't really understand what's going on. But it's like there's no details for it right now. Again, they just went MIA for a solid like 6 months right now.
You know, I tried playing Tales of Vesperia.
Same.
The other, I think it was on Game Pass.
Yeah.
And
I wasn't into it.
I couldn't do it. It was just too slow.
The only game, honest, and this is weird because the only Tales game that I really got into was Tales of Symphonia, right?
Me too.
We got into
only the first one.
Yeah.
I didn't get into the.
Yeah.
It's weird.
We got into that one, and we got into that shit hard. But after that, I really didn't. So it's weird that I'm really interested in this Tales game. But yeah, we'll see. It's it's hopefully comes out this year. But again, I highly doubt it.
Yeah. So we'll see when RPGs. We'll put. Actually, I'm gonna cheat here a little bit too.
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't count as an RPG. Really, is Persona 5 Strikers.
Ooh,
That's coming out this month. I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for that.
But you're not even into that type of genre though.
But it's Persona. I don't care.
Yeah.
Dude, if I'm considering buying like the dancing games, you know, like the Persona, like, you know, have like the
wow,
dancing.
really?
If I consider buying those,
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy this.
Okay.
So
All right. I kind of see what you mean, because I'm not really a fighting game guy, but Persona Arena back in PS4, I was all about it just because it was Persona.
there's story. There's gonna be story. The cutscenes are gonna look cool. The character models are gonna be awesome. The gameplay is gonna be like super fast. It's literally just like kill as many things as you can really fast and looking flashy doing it.
Yeah.
Which it won't take you that long.
I mean, I'll try it. I'll definitely buy it, but I don't know how long I'm gonna stick with it. You know.
It's gonna be so. From what I've seen in like the trailers and stuff like gameplay, it's just like Persona 5, where like, you know, when you're in a level and you're walking around a level and stuff. It's just like that, except like the enemies are real time. There's no like cut, you know. There's no like cut and like you like hit an enemy, and then you just like are into the battle scene.
My thing is just the amount of enemies on screen reduces the amount of interaction with them. So what I mean by that is half of the enemies are just standing there waiting for their turn to attack, and I hate that. You know what I mean?
That's a lot of games. That happens in a lot of games. There's a lot of games where like enemies are literally just like huddled in the back. Like even Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, when you're fighting
I
like
guess
a mob of goblins. There's one literally just hanging in the back just doing nothing. So
I guess
I think you should play it.
I'm gonna play it. I'm not shitting on it. I'm just saying that's not my cup of tea, but I can see why, regardless of what genre it is, it's gonna be hype. I'm excited. I don't know. We'll see. Do you think it's gonna get delayed? Oh, not this game. I'm sorry. Your RPG for 2021. No. Do you think it's gonna get delayed?
Nocturne? No, it's not getting delayed.
We shall see, Rob. We shall see. All right. Well, this is it. That was our podcast for the week. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. New episodes of Project Tech Gaming are available every Thursdays on major podcast services. We also post videos of our podcast on YouTube at Project Tech Gaming as well. If you enjoyed the podcast, like, share, subscribe, follow us on Twitter at Project Tech G. Send us a comment. Tell us how we did, what we can improve on. As always, great conversation, Rob. And I'll see you guys next time.
See you guys. See you.